Why is it okay to talk about poltergeists and demons and hauntings, but God forbid we ever talk about a loving relationship that is healing and healthy and helpful and positive? Why is that bad? Why is having a loving relationship with a spirit taboo? Why are we glorifying demons and not talking about the bountiful love that could be you from these other relationships with these spirits? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melinda. I'm the Mystic Witch and you're watching Light Warrior News. But today we're going to talk about what it's like dating a spirit. So before I begin, welcome. If you've seen me before, welcome back. Thank you so much for being a part of my channel and also being a returning subscriber or just checking this out if you're new. I'm always open to new visitors. Thank you so much for being a part of this and listening to my crazy ass talk about something new. So let's get into it. So this is a very controversial topic. A lot of people talk about having a relationship with Jesus. A lot of people talk about angels and other deities, other spirits, but no one really talks about the relationships themselves with these deities or these spirits, because 9 times out of 10, they don't astral project. And 9 times out of 10, they actually don't know what it's like, and they've never really truly experienced it. And sometimes they will experience it, but they won't remember it because of the fact that they don't have the third eye open enough in order to really cognitively and psychically recollect the supernatural experience from that interaction with a deity or with a ghost, with a spirit, so on and so forth. A lot of people talk about how we interact with demons, and that's a really big thing. That's a really big thing. People always talk about how they interact with a demon, how they see a demon, how they hear or feel this entity, even shadow people, UFOs, you name it. And even, low vibrational spirits, hauntings, ghosts. But no one's talking about what it's like to actually be romantically involved with a spirit. And that's the purpose of this channel, is to enlighten you past the dogma and also into things that actually are normal with mediums. And a lot of people don't talk about it though. It's hush hush. No one talks about this. And I want to talk about this because I'm sick and tired of it being taboo. I'm sick and tired of it being considered controversial, because it's not. Because when you really think about it, everyone does it. They just don't know it. This is actually true. But here, let me emphasize a little bit more about myself, especially if you're new. So I have relationships with my spirit guides. Those are platonic relationships. These are also work relationships with my spirit guides. But we never really discuss as a community what those relationships are like. We don't talk about it. A lot of people do not discuss their romantic relationships with spirits because, God forbid, they actually admit that spirits like to have sex. Angels have sex. It's not just demons. It's not just low vibrational spirits. People like the D, okay? People like the P. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I want to emphasize this. It doesn't make you low vibrational to be sexually attracted to a deity. It doesn't make you low vibrational to have sexual relationships with a deity. The thing is that you're also experiencing a huge gift when you exchange that kind of energy with a high vibrational spirit, because you're exchanging your energy with another and you learn what it's like to soul bond. You're learning what it's like, what it feels like to really give yourself to someone soulfully. You're really feeling this energy in a big way. It's massive. And I don't mean the D. Well, sometimes. I get this a lot from a lot of people. They say things like, well, this is why you're never dating real men, Melinda, like physical men, living men, because you're too busy having sex with spirits. I have relationships with spirits. I don't just have random sex with spirits. I used to. I don't do that. And the reason why is because I like to love myself more before I allow myself to be involved in that kind of situation. Does it make you worse if you experience that with someone, with a spirit, just for the experience? No, it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, sometimes your body just needs it. Your lower vibrational self, your body needs it, because that's a part of your mechanisms of your body. You need that experience, especially if you're not with a physical relationship, you're not with another person. It can be very lonely. And spirits know this about us. They know that we need companionship. They know that we need someone to love us and to be there for us. It's very difficult for a lot of people to also know this other factor that a lot of people don't know. When you're masturbating, there are spirits being involved with you when you do that. And this is where the Christianity concept comes in, and people go, see, that's why it's demonic to masturbate. No, it's not demonic to masturbate. It's actually something that you need to do, that your body needs to release, because actually it can be very painful. Your body needs to have that. Now, I'm not a sex expert or a psychologist, but these are things that I've learned over time as a grown woman and just through my experiences spiritually. The sexual experience with a spirit is extremely, extremely healing. I've learned from my sexual experiences with spirits is that each spirit has a different level of energy frequency. You will actually feel their energy, their being, and you will know who they are. It's like a DNA. It's like an imprint, an energetic DNA. And you learn that and you remember that. When certain spirits are around me, I will feel their DNA. I will feel their energy. Certain spirits that I've had sexual relations with in the past, when they return, I will know that it's them because I recognize that energy. I'll recognize their face or their feelings or their voice as well, but I will recognize that energy. And when I say energy, I'm not talking about orgasms or the sexual stimulation. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. No pun intended. But it really is something very, very divine. And when you learn about this about yourself, I mean, you're going to die eventually, and you're going to experience this whether you want to accept it or not. You will experience that when you die. Unfortunately, a lot of dead people do crave human interaction because a lot of low vibrational spirits that are human, that have not ascended past the earth realm, do want to embark on that physical interaction again. But when you ascend, you don't crave it as much, but you still can have sexual interactions. You still have sexual interactions, but it's not the same as it is here. The sexual stimulation is different. It's not always going to be the same vibration, but it's more holy. It's more high vibrational. Don't get me wrong. They know how to get down. But at the same time, even angels, I've been with certain angels, and I'm trying not to kiss and tell anymore. Their love, their compassion, their energy, their strength, their sexuality, their confidence is very, very, very powerful. And in fact, the higher vibrational that they are, the more overwhelming and difficult it is to actually withstand sometimes, because of the fact that their love is so pure. It's literally like having intercourse. It's like making love with God, because that is, they're God. A lot of people think that when angels interact with humans, they don't get sexually involved, but actually that's not true. The book of Enoch, you have in the Bible, the book of Enoch, that is, they talk about how angels were mating with human females. And this is actually true. Now, that's not something fallen angels were the only ones doing, or demons. Angels, regular angels, positive vibrational angels were a part of this and are a part of this still to this day. Some people may say, why? Why is why is it that way? Are they just all hooking up with everybody? No, they don't hook up. They have very high standards about themselves. But they also, the thing is, they have very high love and respect for people, especially if you're very emotionally sensitive, if you're dealing with a lot of healing, a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, anxiety, stress, depression, whatever the situation could be for you. They really do not take advantage of you in that way. They really want to make sure that you are okay in this process, to make sure that you're not feeling as if that you're not feeling vulnerable in a negative way. Vulnerability is very important, but angels want to make sure that if a situation like that were to come into play eventually, that they want to be absolutely sure that it's love and not lust. And they also want to make sure that it's coming from a place of love, that it's also coming from a place of a sense of completeness, that you feel in your heart that you know that's what you want and that you're drawn to them for the right reasons. Now, don't get me wrong, there are angels and there are spirits that will just go for it and they won't even care how you feel. They'll just go for it. Not angels necessarily, not high vibrational angels, but other spirits that are neutral and even some that are benevolent. The spirits that are sexual in nature, like demons, they take it to a very dark place, and they really do. They really take it to a very negative place where they force themselves onto you and they really put in a lot of hostility, dominance, control, pain, manipulation, vulnerability in a very negative way. And they will do things that will make you feel worse after the fact. Yeah, sure, you may have a really great orgasm, but you will actually feel sick. You'll feel tired. Your body will hurt. You'll feel very exhausted, very drained. And a lot of people will say, well, that just means you had really good sex. No. When you have sexual intercourse with a lover who is in love with you, who is making love to you, not against you, you will actually feel very energized and very optimistic and very happy because of that love exchange. And you'll also feel healing. You will feel a lot of hope. You will feel a lot of laughter. Your inner child may come out in some cases. A lot of emotions may come out. You may cry and feel safe to do so. But at the same time, that can also be confused with the emotions that are kind of similar, but they're all based on fear and pain with either a living person or a demonic entity, for example. My experiences with having sexual relations with spirits has been extremely rewarding. There is so much to learn from having sexual relations with a deity. There is so much to gain. The thing about sexual attraction in the other realms, though, is that they focus on the energy of being pulled towards you. They will notice this feeling as well as you. So if you're feeling drawn to a specific deity specifically, and you just get this rush of energy, and it's not like obsession though. There's a difference between having a crush on a deity or a person and just kind of sexualizing them or romanticizing them, and you're kind of entranced by them, like you're just like focused on them. That's not necessarily bad, but it's not love. It's more based on the ego. It's more based on maybe your insecurities, more based on your hopes of finding someone like that person, and you're kind of romanticizing them and you're in love with them. And also it comes with a toll, because then it fades. And that's not true love. True love is always there forever. You will always be in love with that person. You will always be in love with them, madly in love with them. No matter how long the time passes, you will always be sexually drawn to them, and you will always feel like they never bore you. They never make you feel alone. Even when you're far apart from them for centuries or for years or whatever the case may be, deities or dead people or even people who are living, when you think about them, it just fills your heart with joy and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel positive. That's what love is. And it also makes you feel safe within yourself, knowing that you can be yourself with this person. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people do not have that on Earth. And I never really had that on Earth. To some degree, in one or two relationships I did, but I wasn't really in love with them. And that was when eventually, after my twin flame died, I really explored relationships, but more of just trying to escape my pain. And all it did was make me in more pain, because these men were narcissistic, they were controlling, they were abusive. One literally tried to stop me from leaving him with a shotgun in his lap. I'm not exaggerating that. It is a true story. I actually talk about that in my book, Demon Dealer. when you have these experiences as a woman or as a man, whoever you are, it really does traumatize you and it makes you never want to be with a human again. Am I afraid to be with a human? No, I would love to be with a human. There's actually one guy that I'm really interested in, and he said my hair was really pretty. I don't know. That would be nice. He seems sweet. I'm hoping the universe will manifest that somehow. The truth is, though, I'm not afraid to be with a man. I've seen some comments saying things like that about me. Oh, she's just afraid of being left. Are you kidding me? I'm afraid that they won't leave me alone because I've had men obsessed with me to the point where they were stalking me, to the point where they were abusing me physically from leaving. And it came to the point where I knew I had to just self-love, especially after my rape in 2017. That really took a toll on me. I was dealing with so much pain and trauma that I ended up naturally, I didn't plan it. It just happened. I was alone for so long and also just healing a lot that I eventually started having relationships with spirits. And it wasn't a plan. It wasn't something that I decided to do. I didn't seek it out. It just happened. And over time, I started learning the benefits. Like the healing was massive and is massive. Even still to this day, it's the most healing experience I've ever had in my life. I'm literally going to start crying because every single spirit I've had divine love making experiences with will always stay with me because they help me through some of the worst traumas of my life and the pains of my life that no man on this planet has ever done for me. Ever. Now, I'm hoping, of course, that would change. You know, what I've learned from this experience is that the next man that I could be with would know that experience because that was gifted to me that I could then eventually gift it to someone else. That love, to learn, to know how to be okay with embracing that love and then to share that love with someone else. And I've always known that. And here's another thing that sounds weird, but I really feel like intuitively I got to say this part. This is important. If you're ever finding yourself making love with someone and you just deep down really want to feel their soul, and you can't explain it, you're a medium. You're not just a medium, you're a starseed, and you're not from this planet. And it's because you came from another realm where you deep down miss that connection, that oneness with another being, and you're trying to find that feeling again. You're trying to feel that sense of energy, so much more powerful than people understand, because a lot of people have never truly experienced it or been blessed enough to, or just, opportunistic enough to really experience this themselves. Sometimes you can experience it even through just a kiss from a spirit, believe it or not. And I just heard this from my guides. And that is such an empowering feeling. There are so much healing benefits from just a kiss from a spirit that is so benevolent and so pure and so loving. Even a hug, the embrace of a hug, the healing, the love is so embracing. It's so beautiful. It's so magnificent. But why is it like that? Why do people react that way? Or why do people feel that way when they experience this? Why do I feel that way? I'm going to tell you. The reason why you feel those amazing positive vibrations is because you are feeling the God particle that is within them, that is pure in energy and light and love. And you are giving that, you are receiving that experience for a reason. You're experiencing that experience because the universe is giving you a chance to remember who you are and remember where you came from, and to remember that all this pain is not who you are. All this suffering is not who you are. And even though all of these things are legitimate, all these things are real, that is not the product of who you are meant to be. You are not meant to suffer. You are not meant to be lacking in love or to not experience or to even share it with someone else. I hate it when people say shit like, oh, love will happen when you just stop looking for it. Not necessarily. That's not always true. I've been single for a long fucking time, and I'm not looking for it. A lot of the times, when you aren't looking for it, it will find you, but maybe not with a living person. It could be with a spirit. It could be with a deity who's been observing you for a long time and fell in love with you, madly in love with you. And that's what I love about these experiences with spirit guides, with spirits, with these deities that I've come to really, truly love deep in my heart, because they help me to remember my higher self. They help me to remember the beauty in who I am. They help me to remember that I can fucking accomplish anything. But it was because of that love. It was because of that healing, that amazing transformation. When we have relationships with spirits, a lot of people will assume that it's demonic. A lot of people will assume and say, well, you're just living in the lower vibrations of energy, and that's not really an angel, or that's not really a positive spirit. It's a demon in disguise. If you're new to my channel and that's what you're thinking, let me be very clear. I'm an exorcist, I'm an astral exorcist, and I'm a demonologist, and I know exactly the energy differences between a demon and an angel. They are massive vibrational differences. And when you experience these entities for a long period of time, you really come to learn. It's actually pretty fucking simple to learn and identify the energetic differences. Can demons pretend to be angels and then seduce a woman or a man? Absolutely. Incubus, succubus do that. That's true. And I definitely do not encourage you to let down your guard just to any spirit that is trying to seduce you. Of course not. I would never suggest that. However, if there is a spirit that you encounter who is positive, healing, loving, and is consistent in their words and is consistent with showing you who they are, give them a chance. Because what you may not realize is that it is more of a gift to you than it is to them in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong. They appreciate you more than anything. And that energy exchange with you and them transforms them too, because we never stop growing. But at the same time, that means if they're drawn to you, it's a gift. It's a gift from the universe. It's a gift from God, whatever you want to call it. It is a gift for you to embrace because you deserve it. And what a most precious gift that is. This video is controversial, but I consider it normal. It's my normal, and it's something I will never change. This is one of the biggest reasons why I do stay single, because I'm not in a rush to make a man fall in love with me or to find a man. I used to do that a long time. I used to do it for a long time. I used to be so desperate for a guy to like me, but I just pretty much accepted I'll probably just be alone pretty much the rest of my life. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, but I never had the confidence or really just the ability to really say this and feel comfortable saying this and say, yeah, I have relationships with spirits. I have relationships with deities, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It's no difference than someone saying they have a relationship with Jesus when realistically more than half of them don't. It's a fucking cult. There are a lot of psychic mediums that are watching this right now. There are a lot of witches that are watching this. There are a lot of starseeds that are watching this, empaths, and just ordinary everyday people who don't consider themselves any of those identifications and have experienced a relationship with a ghost or with a spirit to some degree. I want to make this a safe space to talk about these things because it's not taboo. It's very normal in the other realms. They do this all the time. It's not something that is hush hush. Love isn't always tangible in a physical form. Love is also, most importantly, invisible, like spirits. Like God, for example. What makes this any different than falling in love with Jesus? Nuns do it all the time. They sacrifice their whole lives. Preachers, priests, pastors, you name it, say they're never going to have sex again. They're never going to be with anyone. Nuns decide to have a vow of celibacy and claim that they're having a marital relationship with Jesus Christ or with God, and that they're married to God for the rest of their life. And ironically, I wanted to be a nun, and I told myself if I'm 40, and I said this when I was like 16, if I'm 40 and I'm not married, I'm going to be a nun. Thank God the universe woke me up so I don't do that. But even then, why is this any different? Newsflash, it's not. It's not different. It may be different to you for someone who's never heard about this before in this context or in this way. But when you really think about it, it's the same friggin' thing. It's just people having a different perspective on it. But when you take those glasses off, you see it in a whole new light, because really that's what love is. It's just light. There's actually been other women and men who I've spoken to who've actually had relationships or are in a current relationship with a ghost or with a spirit specifically. A lot of the times it's with a person that they were married to who passed away, or that it's an angel, or that it's someone else specifically, like a god or another kind of goddess. This doesn't mean that having these kinds of relationships makes you unlovable or that you can't find a date. What this says is that you have a higher sense of perception, because when we die, that's where we're going to be, sweetheart. That's where we're going to be. And we're not going to just, start having relationships with humans. And that's something I really want to emphasize here is ever since I ascended to the 7th dimension, 5th or 7th, I think it's the 7th, and I'm a starseed, I'm a Pleiadian starseed. Do I know which Pleiadian I am? Not necessarily. I have had interactions with my spirit guides, but the point is, with these experiences, it also made me realize that I am drawn more towards gods in relationships. I'm more romantically drawn towards deities of a higher level of vibration, which sucks, right? Because being around human men, I'm not very attracted to a lot of them anymore, because the little conversations that they have are very boring to me, and they're always trying to impress me with money, or they're always trying to impress me with their job or their narcissism or whatever it is, or their outfit. And don't get me wrong, there are still good qualities in all these men that I've encountered, and there's even times where I would be interested and they just weren't interested in me, and that's okay too. But does that make me afraid to be with a guy physically? No, it just means it just wasn't the right person, and I don't dwell on it and I just move on, because I know that I still have love with me everywhere I go with these deities. Does this make it a toxic situation in your life as a human if you're only focusing on spiritual relationships? Yes, it can be toxic in a sense, but at the same time it's not, because when you really take time to think about it, the physical sense of what we are is an illusion. This isn't really technically who I am. Yeah, this is the body I am inhabiting at this time, but when I die, I'm going to a whole other level of consciousness and a whole other level of me that people will never, ever be able to identify, because I look very different in the other realms. Realistically, again, does that make it bad or toxic? It depends on how you perceive it. If you're so afraid to be in a physical relationship with a person because of trauma or healing or whatever, it's definitely okay to be in a relationship with a spirit. Especially if you are needing healing, they will help you with that. Angels are very, very loving about that too. It is the most transformative experiences I've ever had in my life, hands down, number one. I have learned more about myself and how to love myself because of these relationships. I've learned so much from these people, from these spirits, more than I ever have from these other physical men. And 9 times out of 10, when you start ascending in love, in self-love, the truth is, whether you're a man or a woman, you become more intimidating, because people are not used to healed people. They're not. People are not used to healed people. People are used to broken people, especially if they are still broken. And you become very intimidating and you scare people away. Why is it okay to talk about poltergeists and demons and hauntings, but God forbid we ever talk about a loving relationship that is healing and healthy and helpful and positive? Why is that bad? Why is having a loving relationship with a spirit taboo? Why are we glorifying demons and not talking about the bountiful love that could be you from these other relationships with these spirits? Take time to think about that. I also want to take time to thank my spirit guides Horus, Shiva, Parvati, Isis, Anubis, Ganesha, and Osiris, my twin flame, Elvis, many, many others that I can't remember their names. If it wasn't for all of their love and support, I wouldn't even be where I am today. And I say thank you. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you did, I appreciate you. And I hope to see you again in the next video soon. Then let me know down in the comment section below what you think about this. Are you with this or are you against it? No hard feelings. It doesn't matter to me what you think of me. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.